Part 1. The storm arrived without warning. Maya and her younger sister Emma had been sailing with their father along a remote chain of islands when dark clouds swallowed the horizon. The sea that had looked calm and welcoming only hours before suddenly turned violent. Waves crashed against their small boat, throwing water over the sides. Their father fought desperately to keep control. "Hold on," he shouted. The sisters gripped the railing as thunder exploded above them. The wind screamed like a living thing. Another massive wave slammed into the vessel, snapping part of the mast. Then everything happened at once. A wall of water rose before them. The boat flipped. Maya felt herself thrown into the freezing ocean. Saltwater filled her mouth. She struggled toward the surface, gasping for air. "Emma!" she screamed. For a terrifying moment she saw nothing but darkness and waves. Then she spotted her sister clinging to a floating piece of wood. "I'm here," Emma cried. The storm scattered them farther from their father. Maya searched desperately, but the ocean offered no sign of him. Hours later, exhausted and barely conscious, the sisters drifted toward a small island surrounded by sharp black rocks. They crawled onto the beach just before sunrise. Their bodies ached. Their clothes were torn. They were alone. Emma began to cry. "Dad will find us, right?" Maya wanted to believe it. "He will," she said softly. But deep inside she wasn't sure. The island seemed untouched by humans. Dense jungle covered most of it. Strange bird calls echoed through the trees. The sisters spent the morning exploring the shoreline. There were no houses, no boats, no signs of civilization, only endless forest and steep cliffs. By afternoon hunger became their biggest problem. Maya remembered lessons her father had taught them during camping trips. "First we need water," she said. Together they searched inland. After hours of walking they discovered a narrow stream flowing from the hills. The fresh water felt like a miracle. For the next few days they survived on coconuts, berries, and small shellfish collected near the shore. Life was difficult but manageable. Then they learned the island had darker secrets. One evening Emma noticed footprints near their shelter. They were not theirs. "Maya," she whispered. "Look." The tracks were large, much larger than any human footprint. The sisters followed them cautiously. The trail disappeared into the jungle. That night strange growls echoed through the darkness. Neither sister slept. The next morning they discovered what had made the tracks. A giant wild boar burst from the bushes while they gathered fruit. Emma screamed. The animal charged. Maya grabbed her sister's hand and ran. Branches whipped against their faces. The boar followed, crashing through vegetation. At the last second the girls scrambled onto a fallen tree. The animal circled below before finally retreating. Their hearts pounded long after it disappeared. "This island wants to kill us," Emma said. Maya forced a smile. "Not today." Days turned into weeks. The sisters adapted. They built a stronger shelter. They created fishing traps. They learned which fruits were safe to eat. But survival remained a daily battle. One afternoon while exploring the northern coast, Emma spotted something unusual. Smoke. Thin gray smoke rising above distant trees. "Maya, look." The sisters stared in disbelief. Someone else was on the island. Excitement quickly mixed with fear. Whoever made that fire might help them. Or they might be dangerous. After discussing their options, they decided to investigate. The journey took several hours through thick jungle. As sunset approached, they reached a clearing. In its center stood several crude huts. The camp looked abandoned. Broken tools lay scattered across the ground. Rusty equipment rested beside empty storage crates. Maya recognized some of the objects. This was a mining camp. Emma looked around nervously. "Where is everyone?" Before Maya could answer, a branch snapped nearby. The sisters froze. A shadow moved between the trees. Then another. 3 men emerged from the jungle. Their clothes were dirty and worn. Each carried a weapon. The tallest man smiled coldly. "Well," he said, "looks like we found company." Fear surged through Maya. These men were not stranded survivors. Something about them felt wrong. Very wrong. "Who are you?" Maya asked. The man ignored the question. "2 girls alone on an island." "That's interesting." Emma stepped closer to her sister. The men exchanged glances. Maya noticed one carrying a rifle. Another had a machete. Every instinct told her to run. "We should go," she said. The tall man blocked their path. "Not yet." Suddenly a distant roar echoed across the jungle. The men immediately became alert. "What was that?" Emma whispered. One of the strangers looked frightened. "The creature is close." "Creature." Before Maya could ask what he meant, another roar shook the trees. This sound was unlike anything she had ever heard. It was deeper than a lion. Louder than a bear. The men hurried toward their camp. "Get inside," one shouted. The sisters followed without thinking. Moments later something enormous crashed through the jungle. Trees bent, branches snapped, heavy footsteps shook the ground. The girls stared through a crack in the hut wall. A massive reptilian shape emerged briefly from the darkness. Its body was covered with thick scales. Its jaws looked powerful enough to crush stone. Then it disappeared again into the forest. Emma's face turned pale. What was that? No one answered immediately. Finally the tallest man spoke. That's why nobody comes here anymore. Maya realized the island was far more dangerous than they had imagined. The abandoned mining camp, the armed strangers, the monstrous creature roaming the jungle. Their struggle for survival had only begun. And somewhere in the darkness beyond the camp, something was watching them. To be continued.